Happy Fantasy Friday. This is the Banner and Bookmarks podcast. We are Lindsay,
Kelly,
and Catherine, and we are three book besties diving into romantasy with unhinged theories and a bit of spice.
this is episode 6, the final episode of a 6-episode series covering Brimstone by Callie Hart. And today we are covering the end of the book, chapters 46 through 52. And there will be spoilers. We will be finding clues, making connections, and theorizing all things fae and alchemy.
So pour yourself a drink, come escape reality with us, and let's talk about books. Hey, nice glass there, Kelly. That's cute.
Thanks. Little banter and bookmarks wine glass available on our website. Hey. Great for wine.
Shameless plug.
And
Shameless
margaritas.
plug.
Listen,
I really just wanted to say you had a cute glass, but I appreciate you grasping the moment of branding.
Margarita's
Listen,
not included.
Margarita's not included, unfortunately.
Yes.
Listen, when you live in our merch the way that we do, like I could wear literally all three of us
and
are
it's
wearing
not
our
just
stuff.
because we're recording tonight.
No, I wear this
It's
all
really
the time.
comfy shirt.
It's comfy. I just love it. I love it. Check it out.
All right.
It's a V-neck. It's very
There you
flattering.
go. There you go.
It's a V-neck.
Comes in lots
You
of
can
colors.
get a crew neck if you'd like.
You
too.
sure can.
Whatever
All
neck.
the options.
Whatever neck you want. All right. Well, let's get back to summarizing today's set of chapters here, which is chapters 46 through 52. Kelly, you're up.
All right. Chapter 46, Break. Saris knows how to find Kingfisher. So she goes to Danya and asks her to punch her in the face. She does, and Saris comes to in her dream state in Kalish. Rot has taken over the estate, and she uses the Hazrak's break rune to open the door to Kingfisher's room. He is there, and while he's alive, he is lifeless. The Hazrax appears and tells Saris that she can have one favor. She remembers why she came initially. It wasn't to find Kingfisher. It's because she knows where the missing page to Adina's book is. She finds the page and asks the Hazrax to transport her to the Wicker Wood.
Chapter 47, Unless. The Hazrax transport Saris to the Wicker Wood, and she uses the tiny piece of quicksilver in Kingfisher's eye to track him down. She is attacked by warriors with null blades, but between her god swords, her runes, and their magic, and her fighting lessons with the Lupo, she is able to fight them off. But who shows up but King Belicon Dabara with his sniveling sidekick seneschal, Orias. They have trapped Kingfisher in a dryad tree prison. Belicon tells Saris that she must bend the knee to him, but she refuses. She calls to Nimmerel, and even though it is Kingfisher's god sword, it answers to her. She hurls solace at Orias, presumably killing him, but not before the tree starts to close around Kingfisher, trapping him. Belicon punches Saris in the chest and literally holds her heart in his hand. She distracts him with words from his dead wife's book, and he flinches just long enough that Saris runs the god swords through him. It isn't enough to kill him, but it is enough to distract him. Names hold meaning in this place, so she speaks Kingfisher's true name, Kaiden Greystar Finvara.
Chapter 48, Folly. Kingfisher was trapped inside the Dryad, but no more. After the smoke clears, the first thing he sees is his mate. He kicks Belicon, still run through with the god swords, square in the face. Saris explains that not only did she use Kingfisher's real name, but she used her breaking rune, so it no longer holds power over him. He is free. Orias, thought to be dead, comes out of nowhere and attacks Saris, but Onyx jumps in the way. Orias slashes him with a null blade, killing the fox. Saris lunges for his neck, and Kingfisher finishes him off with his shadows. Kingfisher opens a shadow gate and sends Saris and Onyx through. He pulls his god sword out of Belicon, beheads him, and steps through the gate, knowing that it won't kill the king.
Chapter 49, When We Need Them Most. Ceres and Kingfisher go through the shadow gates and end up on the mountains overlooking Asion. Onyx's body is in her hands, and she calls upon the Hazrax once more. She asks if it can see the spirits of the dead, and it tells her that the fox is still with her. Ceres tells it she wants to use her rune to undo the fox's death, and it tries to talk her out of it. She does it anyway and brings the fox back to life. Its body is too broken, though, and it almost dies again. She finds another well to her power, pushes through, and a shock wave trembles over the entire world.
Chapter 50, Night. Ceres wakes up in Kingfisher's arms, and he is running her down the mountain toward the city of Asion, Onyx jumping by their side. The iron gate is closed, but one person opens it for them, Renfis. They have to hurry to close the gate, though, because Belicon's army is on their heels. Renfis explains where he has been, that he is a knight of Erythian, and his oath mark called him to serve. He is a guardian of another type of gate that lies in Agen, a black gate, the one that Belicon pushed Kingfisher through as a child. Beyond it lies Brimstone, and so Ceres and Kingfisher step through into the realm called Diaxis, the realm Kingfisher calls Hell. Before they do, something changes for Ceres. He is no longer Kingfisher, he is Kaiden.
Chapter 51, The Obvious. I fucking hate dragons.
I love that chapter. I love that chapter.
Oh, it's okay.
That is all.
That is the opposite of how I feel about dragons, but I love that chapter.
Right?
Chapter 52, Promises and Hope. Kaiden and Ceres step through the rotten portal and into hell. A dragon named Arisen is keeper of the gate, and Amnam-Shakrai was its offspring. It spews hellfire on them, and they pass out. Ceres wakes up and hangs chained by her ankles, Kaiden still unconscious beside her. There's a crowd below them, and they're lowered down by two male brothers, Gilfrind and Crave. They try to attack Kaiden, but his shadows overtake them. They have shadows of their own, but nowhere near as powerful as Kaiden's, and they don't understand. Kaiden draws in a deep breath and says, I've come for a dragon, as is my right. Summon our father. Tell him I've come to make a trade. The end.
All right. Ready?
Let's do it.
I know, I'm so excited. These last few chapters are so action-packed. They're so much fun.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go back to, what is it, 46? Chapter 46?
I think so.
Is where we start?
Yep.
All right. So Ceres has remembered something in the previous chapter, right? Something that would help her find Kingfisher. So she runs into the camp looking for Danya, who, of course, refuses to help her.
The worst.
They get into a fight, and Ceres wins, however, which, listen, Danya is supposed to be some trained warrior. I don't know. I get it. Ceres is very powerful, but I was a little surprised that not using magic, Ceres won this fight. And then she asks her for what she needs help with. Please punch me in the face.
Of course she will acquiesce
And she does.
to that.
Yeah, she's like, sure, sounds
Okay.
great.
And the second that happened, I was like, oh, she needs to dream. And that is exactly the reason why she has Danya punch her. And she awakens in Kalish. The once beautiful estate is covered in rot, and it is caving around her. She's got to hurry because she's trying to find Kingfisher. She assumes he's still in Kalish since that's where she last saw him. She goes to their room, but she can't get the door open. She tries to use her alchemical powers, but all it does is make the rot absorb that power. But then she remembers she has her break room that the Hazrax gave her, and she uses it to open the door, and it works. But here's two things that confused me about that. The first thing, she mentions there's wards, actual wards on the rot. And wards are like a magical thing. And I don't necessarily think I was thinking of the rot being something like magical. So
Yeah.
there's something actually warding with it, which makes me believe that it's not just rot. It's something controlling the rot,
Unless
right?
something warded to keep Kingfisher safe while he was there.
Yes, but
I don't
also
know
he's
who would
not
have done
there.
that.
But he's not there. He's in the Wickerwood.
I don't know.
No, he's Kingfish. Well,
He's
yeah,
not.
I think
He's
it's a
in
projection of him.
his projection. And I will
Yes.
say this is weird to me too, because in her dream state, Kalish is still in the rot. Like, you would think that in her dream state, it would be normal. Like, it would be the perfect iteration of what she
Mhm.
remembered it. It's kind of sad to me that already she pictures it in this awful dream state. You know, like, why does she choose it to be in that state in
Well,
her
if we
dream?
remember, every time she went into the dream state previously,
It's
she
real.
recognized that it's real. And so going to Kalish with rot on it is what is real because it's reality at the moment.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
that's just a weird way to think about dreams.
Dream is probably the best word they have for it, but it's probably not the accurate representation of
Right.
what astral projection nonsense they are actually doing.
Right. It's not actual dreaming. She's like projecting. Yeah.
The
Okay.
second thing is when she uses Hazrak's rune, the rot itself starts to desiccate. So Hazrak's power itself can destroy the rot.
Mhm. Which I think is one of the reasons a lot of people are upset at the end when she uses it on Onyx and doesn't use it to fight the rot, because it's proven here that it could have.
work.
I think it's only because it's like in her scatterbrained mind at this point, she saw it, but she probably didn't make any other connection. And everything after this is just boom, 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 boom.
She's so focused on Kingfisher.
Yes. And the next task that I could see myself just not giving myself time to think about it and think all of that stuff through.
Yeah. Kingfisher is in the bedroom and he is alive, but he is in a sort of a trance, which we just said it seems like a projection of him almost, because we know where he actually is. His hair is wet. The room is really cold. The fire in the grate is colorless. It's all shadow black and blizzard gray. It's just a very drab, depressing scene. And his eyes are clouded over and the vivid green is turned to murk and shadow. This is so gross. I feel gray, right?
Yeah.
His pallor is deathly. His skin cadaverous. Looks literally dead. His hand is freezing. His fingers are stiff. He shows absolutely no sign of hearing or seeing her. Blech.
Probably accurate.
Probably pretty accurate. It's gross. It's absolutely gross. And also, imagine going to see your mate and that is what he looks like. That is terrifying. That is terrifying.
So is this supposed to be what he looks like in the tree? Like, is this what's
I
happening
think
to him in the
so.
tree?
I think so.
Yeah,
That is
I
how
think
I
so.
interpreted it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, who shall appear? The Hazraks.
Ol' Hazzy.
Yes.
Do you know what was so weird? So you know how she just used Hazrak's rune on the rot? She mentions he has these black veins now going through his eyes that they normally aren't there. And so it's almost as if her using the rune on the rat had a physical impact on Hazrak's itself.
On it. Yeah, you're right.
Interesting.
And I honestly don't understand how Sarah still does not see that the Hazrax is trying to help her. Come on. I think as a character, she made a ton of progress in this book. And there are still certain things that I'm like, oh, come on. Like, it's right there. But in other ways, I'm like, you're a badass queen now who uses freaking annoying women vampires as footstools. But this is a thing you can't see.
To be fair, I would do that too.
Yeah, but I think you would also see that the Hazrax is trying to help you, though, Kath.
Oh, I would be best friends with the dude who didn't want to talk to me. I would have been annoying.
Yes.
Like
100%.
he's there, he's there, he's watching her.
Yep.
He's trying to help her. Like, and he I just don't get it. Like, he helps her out of this scene,
Yeah.
and she still
Mhm.
doesn't get it.
Sorry, guys, we keep calling it he. We
I
know it's
know
an
it.
it. We can't
Isn't
help
it?
it.
It.
Sorry.
It. The Creechy. Saris thinks that the deal she made with it was for it to watch the court, but no, it is to watch her. Sarah says, well, this has nothing to do with you. And its response is, quote, of course it does. I have a hand in everything, but you will learn that soon enough, I suspect. I need a book about just the Hazraks because what the hell?
I know.
The Hazrak says that it cannot bring Kingfisher back to her and that, quote, there are accords that prevent it, and also that it cannot tell Saris where he is. What do you mean accords that prevent it? Do you have a theory about that, Kath?
It's more of those two sentences combined. That sentence combined with the previous where it says, I have a hand in everything. So I've gone back and forth on is Hazrax just a Hazrax or is Hazrax something more
Hazraks.
like a god? But I also want to throw into the mix the possibility that it could be a fate because it has
Hmm.
a hand in everything and there
Yeah.
are chords
Okay.
that prevent it. It was when it said accords that prevent it that had me thinking more along the lines of fates because Zareth was basically like saying, I tried to do all these manipulations and I could not succeed. So
Because of the
Hazrak
fates.
saying, I couldn't, I was like, I wonder if
Mm.
it is something like a fate.
Which,
See, yeah, that makes sense, but to
oh,
me, the Hazrax has to be something more personal to Saris for some reason. Like, it's the lines of, "You'll learn who
mm.
I am soon enough. You're so close to finding out." Like, I have a hand in everything. It just seems so much more personal to her. And again, we talk about timeline fuckery and all of that stuff. My unhingedness is that this is her or Kingfisher or something that they have traveled in time and are
They're
coming
really
back
ugly.
to, well, if you're a millennia years old, guess what? Your shit's not going to look pretty
Well,
anymore, you
when it
know?
comes to being personal, though, think about how Zareth, though, that's a god over trillions of people, infinite number of realms, but he's personally sought out Saris.
Listen, Kath, I I am with you. I actually think that
Well,
you're right that he's a fate. I know. Okay, because hear me out. This is live because we saved it for the podcast, and so I'm thinking these things in my brain as we talk. But if the Hazrax is a fate, the Hazrax has played a hand in all of the pieces of Adina's book. Adina is
Mhm.
an oracle, so she oracled the path of fate. And so it could be that the Hazrax is there to observe Saris because it has to make sure that fate, this is what the fates
yeah.
have decreed. And so
Yeah.
I need to help usher this along because this is fate. And so I like that theory.
Yeah.
And when you think about all of the timelines being disrupted, it's almost if Hazrax has placed itself there
Mhm.
to try to mend all of that, that it
Mm,
can. And that is why it's been observing as much as it has.
yeah, I
Yeah.
like it.
Why? Okay, so my question to that is, why did it spend so much time with Malcolm?
I want to say probably the timeline tomfoolery started or had its origin there.
Mm,
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
mm.
listen, your logic makes more sense than what I just said by a bazillion, but there's something in me that just
Not
my
buying it
gut
yet.
tells me it's more personal to it. I don't
Because
know
there's something
why.
still very mortal in
Yeah.
Hazrax's description that makes you think that it is not some kind of extra
Well,
celestial type of being because they talk about it looking like it has gills from the sea and it
mhm,
seems very
Yeah.
terrestrial.
well, remember from Quicksilver, I'm pointing at my nose because I have an idea, as one does. In Quicksilver, when they when Sarah talks to Zareth, and I don't remember the exact words, so forgive me, but he talks about Kingfisher and Sarah being like an axis, right, of fate, and the fact that they cut everything, like the gods can't see them anymore. Like, I feel like maybe that is why fate would be personal to her, because so much hinges on Sarah and Kingfisher that it is personal to fate, because she is it. Kingfisher and Sarah are it to
Okay, well,
them.
and think about that language that you just used, right? That Zareth said that
the gods can't see them anymore.
Right. But what is the Hazrax there for? To watch.
To observe.
To observe. So those two actions very much mirror each other.
Yeah.
Right?
It was also
again,
gods can't
logically, absolutely makes sense.
And it was
like
Zareth bringing up the concept of the fates. Almost as if they were actual beings.
Oh, yeah.
Where I started to think, And then that accords nonsense was just such an interesting word choice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. I wonder if the fates had a disagreement and they came to a deal about how things would play out or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it would also make sense why the fate itself would call it an it. I don't think of fate being a male or female.
Yeah.
Listen.
Okay.
I'm in.
Listen,
I like
it is the reigning theory. Right
I like it. Yeah.
Better than mine. It reminds her that she didn't come here for Kingfisher, again, trying to help her. She came here for something else. And it says she has 1 minute to ask for her favor. Now, on my first read, this 1 minute thing kind of bothered me. But then I realized again that it's trying to help her, because it's trying to make sure that she doesn't waste time so Kingfisher doesn't fucking die in a tree.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
Right?
Yep. Because
he's like, hurry it up.
Right.
Your mate is dying.
Of the essence.
Right. You got a minute. Make a decision now.
Yes. So I kind of liked that.
Okay.
All right.
On a
she
reread,
sprints across the room. Yep. She sprints across the room and finds that first paper stargazer bird from the library, the one whose magic had died when it had left the library, and Sarah had put it in her pocket.
And what was it hiding under?
Love it.
The
Kingfisher.
So remember, in chapter 44, Sarah had thought there was a page missing in the book, but the page had never been inserted in the book, because she looked in it. It didn't look like a page had been ripped out. It had never even made it in there. It had been here the whole time.
The whole time?
The whole time? She reads the page and asks the Hazrax to transport her to the Wicker Wood. The Hazrax does. And note that at this point, she is no longer in a dream state. She is awake. That really confused me. I had to flip back and forth to realize that.
Long dream.
Yes. But she is awake at this point, and she has her weapons. Thank you, Hazrax, for transporting me with my weapons at least. But she doesn't have Adina's page in her hands. So we don't get to see what the page says, because Callie Hart personally hates me.
Well, we know part of what the page says.
I don't care. I want to see the whole thing.
Okay, but
I want to know.
It really bothers me.
Eyeballs.
It really bothers me that we do not get to see what that page says.
What she does say, though, is that her message told me exactly where to find him and given me the tools to save them, and
I want to
the
know it all.
wording I had to use
Never
to
enough.
invoke his name and then break the bond. Like, she doesn't actually list it, but in a summarized fashion, she tells us what it was. It was instruction pages.
But that it's not enough, because we have seen the text of every single other page in the book, including a chapter-long letter to her son, but yet I don't get to see what's on the page in this one. And that almost makes me wonder that there's things on the page that she doesn't want us to
know
see.
yet. Yeah.
Because again, like think about the whole thing of like read on after the trade, everything. So there is more information there. And I think that that page has purposefully been left out. Because
agree.
also, if we saw the page right here, it would give away his name. It would give away the whole plot of the next thing. So I know it's on purpose, but I still want to know what that page says.
Callie is going to be looking at this like, I'm sorry, I didn't give you one page.
Well, it's an
She's
important
like,
page.
I didn't mean to make you so mad.
I can't sleep
It's
over
an important page.
She can feel him, but more importantly, she uses the quicksilver in his eye to locate him. Warriors attack her, and they all have null blades, so she cannot use her magic on those, but she can use her magic elsewhere. Plus all of her runes, plus her god swords, plus her badassery.
Yup.
And obviously, with all of those powers combined, she wins the fight.
Duh.
But then she hears, quote, the voice that haunted my nightmares, Belicon Debara, king of a stolen throne, oppressor of an entire court, and my husband's only contribution to our coverage is this. He texted me on the way to work listening, and he said, speaking of important names, I think the name King Belicon is the play on the word bellicose, which means warmongering.
In Russian? Is it Russian?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I'm just going
because he's reading Quicksilver still?
Yes. And
I love that he's been reading it for so long.
Oh, no, it's a real word, bellicose, in English, demonstrating aggression and willingness to fight. I've never heard that word before.
That is my husband's contribution.
Belligerent, bellicose, pugnacious, quarrelsome, contentious, and mean.
Oh.
And that does describe Belicon.
It sure does.
Thank you, Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Right.
Okay, cool.
I literally got like sidetracked a little bit just now, and when all of a sudden you're like, and my husband texted, and I was like, what book are we talking about? They don't have text messages. Like, oh, I was like, what? Oh, your actual husband,
Guru Mobile.
I thought it was just mobile. It wasn't text message. I was like, what? And then they're like, oh, your husband.
Well, she wields her power like an absolute badass, and Belicon is actually in awe. He's very much shocked by this. But then he becomes so narcissistic. He says, never before have I seen such layered power. It cannot be allowed to exist in the world unless it is bound to me. And her response is like, well, I guess you should have thought of that before you killed all of the other alchemists, then, shouldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
But we've been laboring under this delusion that Belicon had destroyed all of the tomes about alchemists, and he had murdered all of them. And he's like, oh, is that what they told you? That I killed off your kind? You should do more research. But then he's cut off, and we don't actually know what he was going to say.
What does that mean? What happened to the alchemists?
Because, I mean, who was going to be in an Evalia? Because this purge happened in the last 1,000 years when the Quicksilver gates were all closed. So who did it?
I need some time.
That is silence. That is silence.
Silence, because I don't know.
Don't forget, too, I think it's like midway through the book when Alget was about to tell Ceres about Belicon and Malcolm and how they, like, there was truth to the alchemist and how Belicon, was it Belicon or Malcolm that appreciated the alchemist? I can't remember. Malcolm appreciated the alchemist, and that Belicon didn't, there was like this whole thing, and she was about to tell her the truth, and then Tal cuts him off. So there's definitely something more to the alchemist's story and background that I don't think we know yet. For sure.
No, I think it's going to be a big part of the next book for sure. Well, Arias is there, and Belicon asks him to show Ceres where Kingfisher has been spending his time these past few days. Now,
rude.
Now, there has been mention of Sarah sleeping in her timeline. This is the same day. So, this is evidence that there is definitely some time tomfoolery, time fuckery happening here. Because what do you mean she slept but it's still the same day and you, where he's been the past few days? So, something's happening.
Yes. Yeah.
Hazrax.
Who knows? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I need more.
Side note too, that there is a reminder that the Hazrax
Mhm.
is like looming.
Mhm.
So keep in mind as we're talking about this chapter that the Hazrax is watching this whole thing. Plus, Belicon and Orias never acknowledge it, which makes me wonder if they can see it.
Ooh,
I would
good
agree.
question.
I was
Yeah.
asking that same question the whole time. I'm like, can you see that
Right.
weird looking thing over there?
Right.
Good question. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. Okay.
And
all
we
right.
know
keep
it's not
yeah.
invisible. The whole court
No, the whole
knew
court seat.
Hazrax
Right.
was there. You
Right.
can
Yeah.
see me, right?
Right.
Yeah,
You can see me.
So keep going and just have
Mhm.
that in the back of your mind through this whole interaction.
Yep. Kingfisher is trapped in, quote, a monstrous tree stood before me, 50 feet tall, its bark black as sin. A huge rent ran down the center of its trunk, a split in its wood so rotten and foul that it actually looked like a wound. That's where Fisher was, at the center of that wound. The lower part of the tree looked like it had healed around his body all the way up to his shoulders. In fact, the wood had grown around my mate, caging his body inside it. It had almost swallowed him whole. Another quote, Fisher's eyes were closed, his eyelashes a stark black ink against his cheeks. So he is pale, pale, pale. Again, very similar looking to the dream state that she just saw him in. His hair is plastered to his head. He looked far worse than back in the dream, seconds away from death. So things have progressed since she saw him in that dream state. And at the base of the tree, Nimrel rested on top of a flat piece of stone, spewing clouds of thick shadow from her blade. Fisher's godsword was not happy in the slightest. Remember, Nimrel has an actual piece of Morel's soul in the blade. So the sword's not happy because Morel is not happy. I
Yeah.
She
love
pissed.
that imagery. She's pissed. She's like, get him out.
It's also so cool that it's spewing shadows. Like it's almost this personification of Fisher's
Mhm.
emotions in that moment too.
I love that. Well, Belicon says that he sentenced him to life imprisonment for his crimes against the Gilthry people. First of all, I need everybody to get over this. I thought we did this already in Quicksilver. Like,
Right.
move along, Belicon. Enough.
He's just showboating to his
Yeah.
audience of those
Oh.
10 fae that are surrounding them.
Arias tells the story that these are no ordinary trees. They used to be a clan of dryads. They stood up to one of the witch clans and lost, and the witches cursed them and made them prisons, fueled by the fear and pain of those buried inside of them. That is horrifying and
Yeah.
very cool witch magic, though.
But
Right.
also, what on
Respect.
earth did the dryads
Respect, but gross.
do to you?
Truly. But who knows, because witches be petty. Belicon warns Ceres that she tries to cut the tree down, the tree will kill him instantly. So do not even attempt it. Your mate will be gone. This whole scene is so gross.
It is funny. You would think that he wouldn't warn her about that. You'd think that he'd just let her chop it down and kill him. Like, why would you
Right.
give her instructions to not kill
Right.
him?
What do you want out of her that you need him
Yeah.
alive for? Like, what else? There's something, because you could have killed him by now, right? Come on.
Yeah.
I
Do we
think
think?
I think if he kills Kingfisher, then she literally has no incentive.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know. He's just
It's a dangling carrot.
stupid.
He is very stupid.
Because he wants, like you said, he wants Ceres and her power for himself. He's
Sure
a
does.
hoarder.
He's a
He
hoarder. He's a
says,
power
He's
hoarder.
a hoarder.
yeah, he says, quote, he will stay here until I have seen you bow before the Farron stone and you have rendered yourself oath-bound into my service. Okay.
Yeah,
He
right.
does remind her, too, that basically all of their friends are also oath-bound to him in this moment. Fair enough. Okay.
Yep.
Noted.
I will say in this, when we learned this is when I was like, oh, this is what she's going to use the break rune for. She's going to break their oaths.
No, Kelly.
That's not what
not.
happened.
Saris, buying some time, asks after Nimrel. While he says he is going to keep the sword for himself, Saris wills Aramar and Selenir back into one, forming Solace again. Saris asks Belicon if he knows the story behind Nimrel, and she tells him about Morel, how the gods gifted it to Kingfisher, and that it is made of iron. And guess who else can handle iron? King Belicon.
This
I can.
bitch.
Queen Saris Fane of Sanisroth. Ha!
Me.
Saris calls to Nimrel. Dun, 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 dun. And it comes to her for the first time in history, someone else's god sword has answered to another person.
Wow.
Do you guys picture Morel just being like, I got you, bitch. Hold
Yeah.
on.
And she knows that she cannot kill Belicon, that he is too powerful, but all she needs to do is distract him.
Okay, but why? I know she can't kill him because functionally that does not happen, even after he's beheaded again. But why can't this fucker die? Also, they talk about his power and she can feel his power, but then in my brain, I'm like, well, what's his fucking power?
Right. We don't really know what Belicon's power is.
Yes, and she explicitly chooses the words, killing him would be a win for Avelia, but I did know that it wouldn't accomplish that goal tonight. Why do you know that? That was for another day, another time,
Kill
and
him.
another hand to plunge the knife. What other hand? What are you talking about? How do you know these things?
Is it something in the book that we haven't seen?
But she's saying such
Fudge.
sure statements about something, and I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. Why do you make these assumptions?
But that's also very Saris. Like,
Mm.
we've seen that as part of her character, that's very in line with her, is just to assume things. She did that all throughout book one,
She did.
you know?
Well, stop assuming somebody else is going to plunge the sword. Could you just do it
Listen.
already?
I agree.
Yeah.
Belicon orders Arias to tell the Dryad to take him, and he does so. But Saris appears with both god swords and kills him. Presumably kills Arias, but too late. The tree starts to close up around Kingfisher. Belicon punches Saris in the chest and reaches in and grabs her heart. Again, what power? It's a good thing she's half vampire, otherwise she'd be dead. And she wheezes, I have a message for you from your dead wife. And this makes him flinch. And she continues, she told me to tell you never. Okay. The never, I think, is bend the knee, Saris. That is what he immediately says to her before that, and then she says never.
See, I think it's on the page it says, go to the Wicker Wood and tell my shithead ex I said never.
And that there's like something that happened in the past that he said to Adina, and Adina's response was never. Or
No, I
is
think
never
that's
now.
what it says on the page that I don't get to see because Callie Hart hates me. Go to the Wicker Wood, tell my shithead ex I said never. And she does.
And
she told me to tell you never.
Yeah. And it all stems back to something that we don't get to know, this conversation that happened.
So if you don't tell me, I'm going to make it up.
Oh, God.
Well,
Never.
she does mention that what she says next is important. The wording is very, very important. So presumably there's got to be some more instructions on that page.
Tell my shithead ex.
Oh, my shithead
Tell that
ex. I
piece of shit.
don't like him. Well, Ceres calls Solus back to her and drives one god sword in his stomach and the other god sword into his chest. And the bastard still won't fucking die. And Ceres realizes there's literally a hole in her chest, but it's closing up. So don't worry about it.
Belicon asks her, quote, "Have you just learned this lesson, half-breed? Kingfisher is already mine to command. You may as well join him. Unless..." What do you mean, unless? Why do you keep cutting off everything? Finish a damn sentence in this chapter, people. Quote, "Names hold meaning in this place. There is no power in this realm or any other that can supersede an order given using someone's true name. A true name can undo oaths. It can open doors." Quote, she says. She's like, "Oh, really? Guess what? Kingfisher of the Asian Gate, I hereby call you by your true name. I declare all oaths you have sworn null and void. Rise, Kaiden Greystar Finvara, in honor of the name you were given at birth. Rise up and fight."
Let's go.
Oh my
There we are.
God.
Have a name.
Kaiden. Okay.
I have to say, I like the name Kaiden.
Me too.
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's a good name. I really do. I would say, I know we all know and love the name Kingfisher, and a lot of people did not like that the switch happened so quickly. But I think if we had gotten the name Kaiden from the beginning, I think we would have liked it. And if you were to ask me with no other context, do you like for a fantasy male the name Kaiden or Kingfisher better? We would all have chosen Kaiden.
I still call him Kingfisher because that's who he is to me. And I'm just, because it's in my head, right? I'm going to
Yeah.
need to learn to use Kaiden. I like it.
And honestly, if you continue to call him Kingfisher, it's called a nickname. It's technically
Right.
the name that his mother intended
Yes.
everybody to call him
Right.
as well.
Exactly.
You're not supposed to call people by their true name. So it would make
Right.
sense that Ceres calls him Kaiden, but everybody else would continue to call him Kingfisher
Yes.
because the mates call them by their true names.
Right.
So really, we can all just calm down and keep calling him Kingfisher because we're not
Yes.
mated to him. So we're not
Right.
allowed to call him Kaiden.
Because he would have known it at the age of 12 anyway if his mom was around to give him his name, right? So he would have known, and people would have still been calling him Kingfisher. So you're absolutely right.
That actually brings up a good point. Like it switches in Ceres's mind, like in a chapter or so, and
Yeah.
she's like, he is Kaiden to me. But she will continue to call him Kingfisher, right? Like in
Mhm.
public, like to
Yeah.
everyone else, he will be Kingfisher.
Yeah.
So that's a good
Nothing
point.
really changed. We are status
Yeah.
quo.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Well, let's break down the name. Names matter. Kaiden, fighter, spirit of battle. Good. That captures Kingfisher well. Greystar, maybe touching on this kind of celestial type of relationship that they have. And then we have Finvara, which is an actual Irish king of the fairies. And in some legends, he is the ruler of the dead. Which, if we think
Very
about last
interesting.
names being surnames,
Yeah.
pretty spot on, gotta say.
Right.
Okay. And this actually just came to me too. Go with
Follow
me
the
here.
bouncing ball. Follow the bouncing ball. Mhm.
Follow the bouncing ball here. If you are Styx, the hell god of shadows, and you decide that you are going to live your life in the spirit realm or in the real realm to live with this woman, and your real last name is Finvara, wouldn't you call yourself Finrin, which is very close to that?
Sure would.
I know.
That is,
Those
like,
were
so
such
true.
similar names that I
That
was
kind
kinda
of
like,
supports the theory that they're
Right.
probably the same person, right?
You're right. Yeah, because people call
Mm.
other people by their last names all the time, and
she probably was like, "What's your name, Finbar? Finrin?" He's like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah,
What'd you
sure.
say?
Just,
Yeah.
yeah, sure, let's go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a good point. Yep, that's a point in the direction of they are the same person,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
I like it.
That was live. Live. You heard it
Ooh,
here.
you
Okay.
heard it here first.
Kingfisher has been trapped in the dryad, but he is free. He bursts open the tree and
Freedom,
sees
freedom.
Ceres as the debris clears. He says, quote, "The name resonated in my chest, triggering something fundamental deep within the foundations of my soul. I knew the name, knew it like I knew the sky was blue and which way was up. It was a part of me, always had been a part of me."
Love it. Love it.
Kingfisher sees Belicon, but he still has Solace and Nimrel run through him. Remember
Gross.
the
That's the way I wanna see Belicon,
Yeah, true.
constantly.
True.
yeah, swords run
With
through
some
him.
pointy things sticking out of them.
Yep. And remember, the iron in Nimrel is the one currently holding him in place truly, right?
Mhm.
Kingfisher walks up to him and kicks him square in the face. Good
And
for you, my
I
friend.
kick 'em, sir.
Love that for you. Yep. And Belicon taunts him, basically calling Ceres stupid for having said Kingfisher's true name in front of him because now he holds all of the power. Quote, "You're fucked, Kingfisher." Or should I say, Kaiden? Let us see if I recall it correctly, shall I? Kaiden Greystar Finvara, I command you to draw the sword from my chest and use it to kill your pretty little mate.
Mhm.
So Kingfisher draws Nimmerel out of him, looks at Ceres, and apologizes. And then, in a moment of pure badassery, Kingfisher swings the blade and drives it back into Belicon's chest. Grrr, love it. And Ceres basically explains in that moment that she had used the unbreaking rune, courtesy of the Hazrax, that she used it to break the spell holding the power over Kingfisher's true name.
Mhm.
Love it.
So she said the words, but Belicon didn't realize that she had the rune, right? Is that why
Yeah.
he really thought that, oh, I have the power, but like,
Mhm.
no, you don't,
And
bitch.
just think
Yep.
about Hazrax being like, "Ooh, that was good use of my rune. Good
Ooh.
job. I like that. Good
He's
job."
sitting there going like this in the corner.
Yep.
I see you.
His invisible self.
Yeah.
Because again, he's there. He's
But
watching this
yep.
whole thing.
Yep. Well, guess what? Arias ain't dead because he comes out of absolutely nowhere and attacks Ceres. And Onyx jumps out in front of her, launches himself at Arias's face. And Ceres sinks her dagger into Arias's side. Kingfisher's using his shadows to hold his ankles, but Arias twists and uses a null blade to stab at Ceres again, but he hits Onyx instead. I absolutely hated this. Ceres buries her face in the seneschal's neck and rips out his throat. That's
Ooh,
what you
good
get
one.
when you mess with my fox, you dick. Kingfisher then uses his shadows to eviscerate him from the inside out. Ceres begs Kingfisher to heal Onyx like he did in Amontreath at the beginning of the book, but he says it's too late. Onyx is dead. You guys, this is the moment in the book that I cried the hardest. Like,
I saw it happen. She did cry a
yes,
lot.
I did. I cried during reading the note from Adina to her son. Like, that was beautiful. And as the mom of a little boy, that hit me right in the heart. I
Mhm.
cried even more when Onyx died. I cried even more when
I
Onyx
cried
died.
more with the animal.
I did. Because Adina was already gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a beautiful
Yeah.
sentiment, but
Yeah.
like this was, I just didn't expect it to happen.
Yeah.
Oh God, Onyx is dead.
Well, Belicon curses the fox saying that it came through the Shadow Gate with Kingfisher and gives us some really interesting information, I think, right here. He says that cursed fox, it plagued us day and night while we waited for you alchemists. We thought it nothing more than a feral beast trying to steal food. It bit 3 of my men. It took Arias's finger last night. It harried the camp at all hours, yelping, scratching the tree. Isn't it just so funny how Onyx was always where Onyx needed to be? And he even,
Mhm.
like, Belicon, like, unknowingly admits that exact same thing. So even though Onyx is dead, Onyx is there on purpose.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Always.
agree.
Well, and I think we talked about in the last episode about why Onyx is in all of these places, like why he is in Kingfisher's
Mhm.
dreams, why he is in
Mm-hmm.
has inserted himself. So
Yeah.
it is interesting that he has inserted himself into this situation as well.
Yeah. He knows so much.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
even Kingfisher is sad. This pet that
Yeah.
he could not stand, he said, in all my years of traveling this realm, I had never encountered anything so mighty and brave as this little fox with the heart of a wolf. And given what wolves mean to Kingfisher, that is high praise
Mhm.
indeed, I would
Yeah,
say.
for sure.
And Kingfisher knows that the minute he pulls Nimrel out of Belicon, he will have power again. So he sends Ceres through the Shadow Gate with Onyx and Solus. He then takes Nimrel out of Belicon and beheads him just to give him a little bit more time before I guess
Yeah.
his head grows back into his stupid body. He knows
Mhm.
it's not going to kill him and it's going to give him time to get away.
Yeah.
And
But
King
why didn't you take his head with you? Like, why let
Oh
his
my God,
body
that
grow
would be
back
such a
together?
great idea because
Put the
you
head in the
could have
bag
used,
like you did for the rat
or,
feeders.
or you could have just chucked it through a Quicksilver gate and thought about
Oh.
anywhere in all of the infinite realms to chuck that head into.
Amen.
Guys,
Thank you.
they just
Amen.
need
I
to
feel like
hire us. We could just
when
solve
I
all these
read
problems.
that, I was like, I feel like you should have taken that head, bro.
Mm.
He
Take the
can't really
head.
do a lot to you if his body's in one realm and his fucking head is in the
Look,
other.
what did the
Put his head
Godfather
into the
teach
realm
us?
where Guru the Shadow Cat goes to shit.
See? Perfect.
That's a great place. Look, what did the Godfather teach us? Leave the gun, take the cannoli,
Take the
Take the
cannoli.
cannoli.
the head.
Take
Take
the
the
head.
head.
That is such a good point. The fuck.
Such
Also,
a good
I do
point.
think
Take the
I
head.
take the head. I also do think that this further proves our theory that I don't think anyone is arguing against us, but that Malcolm is not dead. Why would Malcolm have died?
I don't know, because I think the reason that Malcolm died is because he drank Carrion's blood before
Mm,
he was
you think that
beheaded. Like, I think
solidified him?
that right, because Carrion's blood was poison to him.
So you think he could
That
be?
would be the only reason. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Kingfisher and Ceres spirit themselves away through the Shadow Gate all the way to the mountains overlooking Ajon.
All right. And then we get to this big scene
Oh.
here. Ceres is devastated, and Kingfisher says, quote, "We believe that animals are too pure for this life. They are all ascended beings who live in the after. Everything is perfect there, no pain or misfortune or heartbreak. But sometimes they peer beyond the veil between this life and the next, and they see us here in the depths of our suffering, and they choose someone, one soul they want to help over any other. They come to us as dear friends when we need them most. You needed Onyx when you first got here, Ceres. He saw that perhaps, and he came." I know, it's so sweet. But it also kind of harkens back to what we were just talking about. Like, they come to us when we need them most. So isn't what Onyx has been doing this
Yes.
entire book, is
Yeah.
coming to them in their dreams and in all of these places that they need him, even if we don't know the reason why. The reasons, I think, are there.
Yeah, I agree. Ugh.
So Ceres thinks she sees her room shimmering, and it makes her think. She starts to yell out, screaming for the Hazrax to show itself. It does. And it says, "Do not summon me. I have no interest in assisting you." And she's like, "You're lying." And she's absolutely
Yes.
right. Like, we talked a lot throughout the series about the Hazrax motives. The Hazrax absolutely is there to help her. It is obviously, it was there with them the entire time, watching that entire interaction with Belicon. Why is it even pretending
Yeah.
like it doesn't care in this
Grumpy.
moment?
You
Bullshit,
you showed
Hazrax.
up. So you showed up.
Bullshit skis.
You
Right.
showed up.
Yeah.
Sarah's gives us a random, like we've already seen Hazrax described to us, right? It's already been there at the beginning of the book, but she stops to have another description of Hazrax here, and she mentions seeing something like that same description in one of Foley's books. And then she doesn't say anything more.
Saris asks Hazrax if it can see spirits of the dead, and it says that it can. It doesn't want to answer at first, but Kingfisher pleads with it. So it asks a favor in return. Tell me what it feels like to lose something that you love so dearly. That is a very interesting question for the Hazrax. So maybe this is the Hazrax interest in Saris. It's watched the Vampire Court for so long that this girl comes along who's alive and interesting. Or is there something more to it than that? Is it simply using this moment to feel and try to understand what it is to feel? The Hazrax is not human, not really Fae, right? It is something else. So what does the Hazrax experience or not experience? We don't really know.
It observes but doesn't experience.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I did D, all of the above.
Right?
Mhm.
Agreed. Well, Hazrax answers her, yes, the fox is still with you. And Saris decides she's going to use the rune to undo death, break death. That is not something I think anyone saw coming, especially Hazrax. Coincidentally, doing this does bring Saris one step closer to mastering all three branches of alchemy that were mentioned in Quicksilver, right? We've got metals, now immortality. So she only needs to tackle sickness, potentially curing rot, question mark. What do we think there? And she would have mastered all of the branches of alchemy. So very interesting. Put a pin in it. I
Yeah.
feel like we have a lot of pins in this series.
Yeah. It's also interesting that those three branches of alchemy are never brought up
Nope.
in this book at all. So I'm curious how they're going to come into play in the next book,
Right.
especially now that she has conquered immortality. And that also means that there is another way, seemingly, to conquer immortality other than using
Right.
this break rune.
Right. Because it wasn't something that the
Right.
Hazrax
It was a
thought.
branch of alchemy.
Right.
So I don't know.
That's a good point. The Hazrax says, though, it's impossible. There is no amount of magic that can cheat death. It even tries to plead with Kingfisher, saying, speak to her, child of shadow. Child of shadow.
Child of shadow.
Interesting.
That's wording right there.
Stixy baby.
But obviously,
he
Hazrax
says,
knows then. He knows.
right.
It
He
knows.
knows.
It knows.
It knows. Hazrax
knows.
knows all because it observes. But guess what? Kingfisher says he has faith. And so here we go.
Well,
Kath, take us through it.
She's going to do it.
She's going
She
to
says,
do it.
quote, I called on a part of myself I'd never reached for before, a rune I didn't even have yet. And I fucking hoped with every last part of me that this would work. So, okay, a rune she doesn't have yet. She's got Quicksilver. She's got Brimstone. Still need to seal it, but she's got it. She still has her break rune currently. She does technically have salt and then her elemental runes. So is she talking about one of those, the healing rune? Like, what's she talking about? Which rune's she reaching
and
for?
You'd think she'd be reaching for the break rune since that's the one she's using here, but on a rune I didn't even have yet is odd wording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no guesses.
No.
That's my guess.
That was my guess. I have no guesses.
Cool. I'm glad we
Yeah.
sorted that out.
Yeah, I have no guesses.
But even Hazrax is like, yo, and says, look at me, child. All magic has its limits. If you proceed any further, you will shatter the rune I gave you. You will not be able to use it to save anyone else. You will not be able to use it to free your other friends from their oaths as you freed your mate. He's saying, this is it. This is the last time you will use it if you try to take it so far.
Yeah. And my first read of this, I kind of had, like, I've talked a lot about how I felt like Saris was kind of overpowered in this book. And so part of me thinks that this was put in here so that it would take away some of that power from her. Like, she's using it up in this moment so that she doesn't continue to be this, like, majorly overpowered character. I don't know. Just a thought.
No, I mean, that's a fair thought. She's honestly really powerful.
Yeah. I don't think it's the ultimate reason why she used the rune, but I think that it's part of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, she pushes her magic and it hurts. It is scary, but she keeps going. She even says, I'd opened a door and death stood on the other side of it. If I didn't push it back and succeed in my goal, he would step through and claim me instead. Okay, to me, she literally said, Hi, Kingfisher's dad. I'm your daughter-in-law. Don't mind me. I'm
Please
just going
don't
to grab
take
something
me.
really quickly here.
Let's also not forget the parallel in book 1 when she opened the gate originally and she saw death coming out of the Quicksilver, which was Kingfisher. She said it looked like death had come out and then it was coming to claim her. So this is really interesting language if you compare the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if she is talking about his father,
she thinks that all the Finvaras are very death-like.
Yeah, that's right.
Hi, Daddy. Shadow Daddy.
All right, Shadow Daddy.
Shadow Daddy's daddy.
Shadow Daddy's grandpa.
Daddy's Shadow's daddy. Grandpa? No, not grandpa.
Nope.
No.
Silver Fox. He would be a silver
Sure.
fox.
Quicksilver Fox.
Oh, bump. Quicksilver Fox.
And that's it, folks. Good night.
All right, we're done.
Onyx does move a little bit. He is alive, but his body is still completely broken that it doesn't matter.
Right. Saris pushes a little bit more. She says, quote, I acted quickly, plucking up the last kernel of energy I had discovered and pushed it up past my bond with Fisher, past the empty reserve where my magic should have been, into the body, into the raw Alchemiran shield that was smoking onto the back of my hand, and then into the little white fox. The world trembled in shock, a shock wave rocking across the rocky, snowy slope, and out of nowhere, a grim white dawn broke over the Sawtooth Mountain range of Agen, casting back the dark. For those of you, I just want to explain what's going on here. Kelly and Catherine are both on mute right now, losing their shit, because I have said this quote, I think about 7 times right now and have not been able to get through it. And they had to mute themselves and are laughing their faces off. And so they're assholes. I had to
I cried the whole time.
I had to move my camera so that I couldn't see their faces because they were so distracting while I was trying to read that.
Let me explain.
I was holding it in so hard. I know.
And then I saw her face, and her face was just...
Kelly is red right now.
Because I'm crying. I was holding it in so hard.
Dear listeners, I'm not going to do it again.
No, we're just going to go. Time.
No, I didn't. I stumbled
you
across
said roll.
it.
You said roll
again.
Okay.
And here's the thing, guys, that was not a direct quote because I was trying so hard to focus that the last half of that doesn't make any sense. If you need the quote, please go look it up in the
Please go
book.
look
But
at it.
I can't handle doing it again.
Oh,
Okay.
that was funny. Oh, that I was trying so hard, and I think
It's the Alchemirian shield.
It's your Georgia
Raw
accent,
Alchemol.
Raw Alchemirial, and I knew it was coming, and so I tried to keep it in, and then because I was trying to keep it in, I couldn't.
I don't sound Southern a lot, I don't think sometimes, but raw apparently.
Raw.
I said raw. It's alchemy in here. There must be some Georgians in the atmosphere.
Oh, that was funny.
Okay, so that's what happened there.
Getting back to it.
Okay.
Also,
Cool.
what kernel of energy did she discover?
Where did you find this? I don't know.
Did it just start generating?
Very overpowered, in my opinion. There's a lot of energy and a lot of magic that you just shouldn't have.
And there's no explanation that we like.
Right. And at this point, you've already used the rune. So this isn't rune magic. This isn't the Hazrax magic. This is more magic than you should have. And why do you have it?
Yeah, and all she did extra here was she was actually going through her bond with Kingfisher. But it's like, okay, well then, what raw kernel of magic do you guys have together? Is it reaching through to his dad and his something? Like, what is
past that? And it's past the empty reserve where my magic should have been.
Yeah.
So where are you getting this
Where you
from?
going? Where'd you go?
I don't know.
What else you got going on in there?
But she uses enough of it that she passes out. At least that happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she wakes up in Kingfisher's arms, and he is running down the mountain towards the city of Agen. And cute little Onyx is jumping in the snow.
Where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going?
Jeez.
I do
Alive
love
and jumping.
Right. I do love the city, the description of the city here, though. Like Anam Shakrai fell and they basically left its bones. So the city is like built around it with like the rib cage protruding up into the sky. I think that's really cool. Except, of course, for the skull, because Belicon is a bitch and he stole that for himself.
Well, let's talk about the epilogue at the beginning of this next chapter. Stargazers, also known as kingfishers, can be found in abundance from the Galarian Mountains all the way down to the coastal cities of Marinth, Bodish, and Inishtar. Many individuals among the Fae, Selkies, elemental sprites, and satyr populations consider the stargazer a symbol of hope. This is an excerpt from Fae Creatures of the Galarian Mountains, a missing tome from the Royal Libraries of the Winter Palace.
Carrion's book.
Right? This is very funny, because if Carrion hadn't burned the book, they would have been able to make the connection sooner, possibly. But
look,
missing
it's the
tome.
only book he's had for 1,000 years.
Yep.
He can just write it again himself. He's got it memorized. He could draw all the pictures too.
There you go.
He sure could.
Well, so before we go on, do we want to talk about any guesses of why we think ultimately she saved Onyx? I feel like that's kind of an important conversation to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, from what I've seen online, have a lot of problems with the fact that she saved the fox and she kind of wasted, for all intents and purposes, the break undo rune. I kind of have this thought that similar to how Kingfisher and Lorith have their connection, like Kingfisher gave up a piece of himself to save Lorith, and so their lives are tied together. I wonder if this is the same thing that's happening here, that somehow now Ceres has given up a piece of herself to save Onyx.
Yeah.
And so Onyx will become sort of like a anchor in a way for her, so that if something happens to Ceres down the road, they will be able to bring her back, or like she won't truly die because she's anchored to this world by basically her Horcrux box.
Mhm.
But a nice one.
A nice Horcrux.
A
Yes,
nice Horcrux.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's my
I
reigning thought.
I do like that. I think that the I think that that could be part of the purpose, and I would like the idea of the two of them being connected in that way, especially if part of our other theories that we've talked about are correct in that the reason that Onyx is here in the first place is also fated, or he was sent by someone specifically. So I would like the additional connection. I also think that her saving the fox in is also supposed to do something to the fact that, like, it builds her character in a certain way that I wonder if because of this, like, seemingly selfless or this choice that seems like, "Why would you do that?" Change I don't wanna say changes a path. Maybe it changes a path. We've talked about, like, certain
Mhm.
choices, but also if it makes her seem a certain way or a different way in the eyes of the Hazrax or someone else,
Mhm.
and because of this choice that she made, it opens up other things to her. So not that,
Yeah.
like, the saving of the fox specifically sets it off, but the fact that she chose it builds her up in a certain light, and that makes fate allow something different that maybe isn't currently on the path that they're on, if that makes sense. So, I
Yeah.
don't think it goes against your theory, I think it
Yeah.
could be in addition to that coming in down the
Yeah.
line.
Well, Catherine's brought it up before that she feels like it was like a test,
Mm,
right? That
yeah,
Saris was being tested in this moment. So that kind of goes along with what you were saying too, that
totally.
it's like this moment that she is choosing this action. So she's kind of being tested by something
Yeah, yeah,
in that way,
right.
right?
Either tested purposefully or passing a test that
Hmm.
they didn't even realize that it was a test, and then they're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, this changes things," you know? I do like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
Can I bring up
Mhm.
another possibility?
Yeah.
We literally have a trade at the end of the book, but we
Mhm.
technically have a trade here. Her
We
break
do.
rune for Onyx's life. And so I would be curious to know if perhaps the obvious trade, what we all think means by the trade, that we see those words at the end of the book, like don't read until after the trade. Perhaps it's not that trade. Perhaps it could harken back to this moment.
This trade.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
didn't
maybe.
didn't she say something about how I could complete it without Kingfisher, but Kingfisher couldn't complete it without
Hmm.
me?
I agree with you. I think that the trade ultimately has to do with Saris, not necessarily Kingfisher, because of that quote, because of the whole Kingfisher can't do the plan without me, but I can do it without him. That leads me to believe that Saris holds the responsibility. So the trade is ultimately hers.
Yeah, hers to
So,
make. That's interesting.
yeah. The other thing too that we've talked a lot about is the fact of Onyx being a familiar,
Mhm.
right? And a familiar is like basically a witch's, mostly in mythology, like spirit guide and spirit animal.
Mhm.
Um in some cases they're seen as actually gifts from the devil, to help witches with their
Yeah.
magic and their spells. So when we talk about who, what we think the potential of Styx is, and is he actually the god of the underworld, or is it just shadows, all of those things. Like if you think about him in an underworld sense, you could think about him in a devil sense. Is
Mhm.
he maybe a
Mhm.
gift from him?
Right.
I just, again, especially the familiar thing, like they're usually being able to like cross realms and assist with magic. And that's very much what Onyx has done here. So it makes sense that she would tether herself
Yeah.
to him in that way. I think whatever it is, a lot of people I know had a problem with it and they saw it as a very flippant action. I do not think that it is a flippant action. I think that it is ultimately a very important action
Mhm.
and will be a catalyst for something very important in
Yes.
book
I
3
agree.
Would
for sure.
prefer to
Totally agree.
reserve judgment.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you don't kill, we all know you don't kill a pet. You don't kill an animal and then
Mhm.
bring it back to life without it being like, then why kill the animal in the first place? Right. Like
Right. Yeah.
that's a line that a lot of people just don't cross. And so I feel like it's so purposeful.
Yes. Yep.
Belacon's army is chasing after them. Magically, it also
Mhm.
showed up at Atron. And they should probably not have been able to get there that quickly, but Madra has found a way to move through worlds. So I guess Belacon and his army have also found a way to move quickly through worlds. The gate into Atron is closed, but it opens, and a single male is standing there on the other side. And after 600 pages, Renfis is finally back.
Renfis.
Yay!
Thank God. I was worried about Renfis, you guys.
He is just doing his job.
I
And
know.
he tells the story of where he has been. He was riding toward Ballard to warn them, and he felt a searing pain in his chest. He was oath marked, and he was being called to serve, not to Bellicon. But when Morel died, her blood was spilled at Ajon. The Ajon believed that once your blood was spilled there, you belonged to it in a way. And since they were twins, he was now a member of the Ajon Fae and a member of the Orinthian Knights. And so
Interesting.
he was
Mhm.
called to guard the gate because what did possessed Everlane Adina tell us? The gate is open. The gate is open. The gate is open.
Yep. I was so worried that that it was going to be really negative and that Renfis was going to betray in some way. And I was getting very, very nervous. Or I thought he was hurt and dead. I like had very bad gut feeling. So I'm very glad that this
Yeah.
is what it was.
Yep. So remember in our last episode, Lorith told Saris a story about where they could find more brimstone. And this is it,
Mhm.
people. There is another gate here, like Quicksilver, but not.
Mhm.
But note that Saris can sense it.
I think that is important, the fact that she says it's not Quicksilver, because it's not just one time she says it. She says it repeatedly. Whatever this pool is not actually Quicksilver. Like, it's
See, I
something
think that
else.
it is. I think that it's rotted Quicksilver.
Mm.
I think that when you think about the
Where
rot
it
that's
came
taking
from.
over the land, yes, I think that it is Quicksilver, which is why she can sense it. I don't think Saris has enough information to know what it is. Like, why else would she be able to feel it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that it's rotted Quicksilver. Yeah. Well, and let's think about it. It has to be Quicksilver because when Kingfisher went through it,
Yeah.
he got
I haven't thought about that,
Quicksilver
but I haven't
in
thought
his
about that.
eye.
But I haven't thought
Yeah.
about that because where did he go? He went to Diaxis,
Mm-hmm.
and he hates the gods. And I could easily see his godfather putting that Quicksilver in his eye.
But see, all the story that we've gotten is that he was pushed through a Quicksilver gate.
Yeah, I'd be annoyed
I hear
if
you.
that was the thing. Because
And even earlier in this book, they talk about Bellicon pushing him through Quicksilver Gate.
I hear you.
Mhm.
I just found it
You
so
know?
interesting after saying all of that repeatedly. We then get like the next several pages of repeatedly, oh, but this is not Quicksilver. So I'm
But
kind of
see,
like,
again,
what
I
are you
think that's
trying to convey? What are
Saris.
you trying to
That
say?
it's not anymore. Like how you can
Yeah.
transmute metals, right? You can take metals and you can
Mhm.
change them. I think that it was once Quicksilver, but it's not anymore. It's not right because
Yeah,
something
because
has
he had
rotted it
said
or changed
that
it.
he
Mhm.
said this pool was different from all the other pools, and I wouldn't need the relic. Obviously, Bellicon could have just simply lied about that
Yeah,
and
I
all of
think
it.
that for sure.
It's just, it was it was just very, very interesting. The other thing being like when you go through Quicksilver, you think of where you want to go, and here it only takes you one place.
Hmm.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, through the whole story that we're about to get with Kingfisher going through it as a child, they continuously call it Quicksilver too. Yeah. Well, let's talk about it. Quote, the original alchemist could never control it, not even the strongest of them. It sent most of them mad. The gate would open by itself and then it wouldn't close. Foul creatures used it as a doorway into this realm. They caused chaos and terror throughout Evelia. Since no one could close the portal, the Knights of the Orient were created. They were imbued with an old line of magic. Powerful. 6 of them stand watch over the gate at all times, channeling their magic into wards that prevent all manner of evil from spilling into this world. They take it in shifts to protect not just Agen, but all of Evalia. So, again, alchemists should be able to control it if it is quicksilver, unless it is something like rotted quicksilver that they just don't know what to do with it, you know? This is another one of those instances where they said not just Agen, but all of Evalia. And
Hmm.
Evalia is not
It's
the name of the world.
yes.
That's the
Right.
name of the other kingdom. So
Right.
this is another one of those map instances that I'm like, that's why that doesn't quite make sense to me.
Egocentric
But
view of their world. But I also found
yeah.
it interesting that they said there were 6 of them to stand watch. And I was thinking,
Mhm.
oh, well, there's 7 gods. And if Styx is the god of this place, the other 6, maybe that's meant to represent the other
Mm.
6 gods as to watching over this specific realm. If we kind
Yeah.
of think of this as a like a hell, if it ultimately
Yeah.
ends up being that, almost like all of the gods in Olympus on one
Right.
side and the underworld on the other type of
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
Right. They tell Saris the story of how Kingfisher went through this gate when he was younger. Quote, when the Quicksilver was stilled here, cutting us off from the other realms, the gate at Agen remained open. Belicon declared it was a sign. He said that because it was the only gate left open, it would lead us to riches and glory. He brought a failing here to Agen to visit the gate. He was barely more than a boy. Belicon put a sword in his hand and declared that he should be the first to go through the gate and behold the paradise that waited for us on the other side.
This does solve our timeline issue that we brought up in our coverage of book 1 of if they were assuming that Finrin went through the gate and closed the gate. How did Kingfisher get pushed through a gate when he was 11?
Yes.
So this does solve that.
Yes.
Is that
Mm,
all the other gates closed, but this one remained
remained.
open. So
Yep.
we do get a little bit of an answer there. That
Yep.
made me happy when I read that. I was like, oh, 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 oh.
But
Mhm.
Okay.
we're about to reinforce another timeline issue.
Right. Yes.
One door closes, another 3
Yeah.
open.
Yep. Exactly.
Ready for it? Quote,
Yep.
my mother had been dead a week, and he planted me on my knees in front of that stone and made me promise. It was easy for him after that. He ordered me to give him the relic, and then he ordered me into the pool. Renfis continues the story, saying, quote, the king and his men waited for 2 hours for the failing to return. And when he didn't come back, the king feigned the loss of his stepson, the only remaining link to his precious Adina. He'd already bequeathed Kalish along with the title that had accompanied the land to his seneschal when the pool erupted and spat the failing out. His eyes were rimmed silver like the stars. All
Okay,
right.
so 2 things. One,
Mm-hmm.
Fenrin had gone to Zilvarin, right? And presumably, if Fenrin is Styx, then left back to the underworld, right? So it's very coincidental that after that moment occurs, Kingfisher goes through this and then sees his biological father, right? It's almost like That was a nice
circle.
bow around
Yeah.
that. Yes. But secondly, Everlane isn't alive yet. She's not supposed to be born for 200 years, yet somehow he just says, my mother had been dead a week and Bellicon is mourning her loss. Okay, well, Everlane hasn't been born yet, so how's that happening?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also, we're about to learn that you can't survive in Diaxis for more than 2 hours. So there could be something between realms that the timing is different.
Yeah.
So that could easily explain that, but it's weird that they specifically call out you can't be there for 2 hours, and then here it says the king and his men
Waited.
waited 2 hours and he didn't come back.
Yeah, I could see
So-
time being different for Kingfisher in Diaxis.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But
Yep.
it's still, why bring those specific same numbers up?
So what's the other two? If this is a total of 3 times. He does say that it opened again and a beast crawled through. It killed all of the 6 knights and dragged their bodies through the gate. And since then, it's opened every day for a period of 3 hours, random amount of time each time. It is open right now. So Saris and Kingfisher decide they must go through it, knowing that Brimstone has only one source and that Saris needs to seal her Brimstone rune.
This is the moment that changes for Sarah. She says, quote, even as I watched him, something shifted in my mind. He wasn't Kingfisher anymore. He was Kaiden. Undeniably, the name fit him. It was like discovering the long lost, missing piece of a puzzle, like snapping it into place to complete an image, and finally seeing and understanding it in its entirety. He could only ever be Kaiden to me now. He was ready to face whatever awaited us on the other side of this door. So I think from this point on, we will also refer to him as Kaiden, obviously, unless accidentally out of habit. After this, though, she does call him Fisher. I was like, you just said this
you just
whole
made
speech,
a whole speech.
about how you were going to never call him. And then he clicked in his head. And then literally like a sentence later, she calls him Fisher. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And listen, I've seen a lot of people online say that they hate this moment, that they're like, no, why would it switch so quickly? Listen, at the end of the day, the author had to do this because the author had to have known that everybody was going to have a problem with switching Kingfisher's name in our heads. And
Right.
so she needed Saris as a character and Kingfisher as characters. They both had a moment where they're like, oh, it snapped into place. That's who I am. They had to have that definitive moment or
Yeah.
else we would have never accepted it. Right.
Yeah,
So I
100%.
get it from like a plot device standpoint.
Saris asks what the realm is called, and Kaiden responds, quote, it's never been given an official name here. The pantheon of the undergods and the dragons they breed there call it Diaxis, but personally, I've always called it Hell.
Fitting.
Interesting, fitting.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we've had a lot of discussions about whether we think it's actually hell or if it's Kingfisher's hell. So,
Tomato,
Yeah.
tomato.
Right.
All right.
Hell, kind of hell.
All right, guys, buckle up. We're going to deep dive chapter 51. Get ready.
All right.
I
I'm ready.
fucking hate dragons. Deep dive complete.
Done.
Wow.
Great
Whew.
job. Great job.
Fabulous work.
Here all night.
Do you
I love
do
the
you
depth
think yeah,
you took with that. Yeah.
do you think he hate like how much does he hate them?
I
fucking
really
hates.
think he fucking hates them.
Fucking hates him.
Mm.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Put a-
Well, thank
Put a
you
pin
so
in
much for
that.
that.
Thank you. Okay.
So going to chapter 52 then, let's just keep moving on. This pool is foul. It smells. It tastes like rot. It coats their hair and
Ugh.
skin. And Saris asks Kaiden what it is, and he answers, it's probably best you don't ask.
And he was like, don't swallow it either.
So, like, any guesses? Or is this just him not wanting to answer, like, the author not wanting us like not wanting to give us the answer maybe,
I
or do
think
we have
that.
guesses here?
I mean, you talked about the whole rot thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's more she has something for it and she doesn't want to tell us
Right.
yet.
Mm.
Yeah.
I took it as a funny
yucky.
moment. Like I took it as a, oh my God, what is that? It's better that you don't like don't ask what's in a hot dog kind of joke. Like it was funny to me. Like I like giggled about
Yeah.
it, but could be deeper.
Yeah.
But you know
I don't
me.
know.
Also, Kaiden has hell glow sticks. Quote, pale green light flared next to me, almost white, but not quite. Kaiden held a thin tube in his other hand, the top half of which glowed with even light. He held it out to me. Once I'd accepted it, he produced another of the strange tubes from his pocket and shook it hard, activating it so that he held one too. He has hell glow sticks, everybody. He's going to the hell rave and he is ready with his even light sticks.
Okay. We've got
I literally read that and I was like, he has glow sticks.
Glow sticks. They are
Okay.
glowing hell glow stick rave sticks.
We've got cliff notes. We've got glow sticks. We have a lot from the Earth world in this realm.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of fucking hating dragons, surprise, there's one waiting for them. It says it is 2,000 years old, which I honestly thought it would be older because Kingfisher's he's over 1733 years old to be exact. So I kind of was expecting, I don't know, old Shakrai's mommy to be a little bit older.
Old Shakrai. Yeah.
Right. They literally called it old Shakrai.
Belicon's older than you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she calls it, but I think it's only until she knows the dragon's name. She does change to a she. I'm just going to use she. She reads their minds, even when they're speaking through the bond, sassily saying, I can hear you. And so Ceres gets sassy back with it, and the dragon asks her, what master do you claim rules me, girl? To which Kaiden answers, Styx, Lord of the Charred Eyrie, King of Dragons. He is your master. He is the one you most obey. I want to bring up something in that statement. Okay? You ready? You ready? Lord of the Charred Eyrie. Eyrie is birds, okay? In the Orlena bonus chapter, it is mentioned the character that Orlena believes or is called in that chapter, Finrin. He is wearing in the center of the lever protector that covered his chest a bird in flight cast with silver wings outstretched. And I find it very, very interesting that they're calling Styx Lord of the Charred Eyrie, and Finrin, who I postulate is Styx, because of that chapter specifically.
Yeah. So an eyrie can also be a nest too.
So
like
dragon
an
nest.
eagle's nest.
Yes,
like a
specifically
bird's
an eagle
nest,
bird's nest.
Yeah,
yes.
is an eyrie too. So interesting.
I like it.
And to anybody who still does not realize who Styx is, as a reminder, he is the god of shadows. And he's here.
That's right.
He's here. He's
present. And here we are. Yep.
Here we are.
Kaiden tells the dragon that he, quote, comes as an ambassador of my realm, as does my mate. We request an audience with Styx per the rules of engagement between our realms. Etiquette. And then the dragon cuts him off. Kelly, didn't you just say something to this about let's just let people finish their sentences here?
Seriously. Finish a dang sentence.
But the dragon cuts him off, spewing brimstone at them, which answers the question of where does brimstone come from? It comes from dragons. Ta-da. Luckily, Ceres blocks it with her rune shield, But she also notices that the dragon missed, and it seems like it's on purpose that it missed.
Mm-hmm.
It introduces itself. I am Arisen, keeper of this gate, and I have not spared you out of mercy. That word does not exist in this place. Your lives are temporary. I have spared you for one reason and one reason alone. And Kingfisher knows this answer, and he says, You've spared us so that I can be brought before your master for judgment. The crime that he's being judged for? The murder of Arisen's offspring, Anamshakrai.
Mm-hmm.
And it spews hellfire at them so hot that they both pass out.
Whew. Ceres wakes up and she is hanging upside down, chained over a gigantic crowd. This was giving me like 1990s cartoon lab. Like there's like a bubbling cauldron and like they're
Yes.
hanging upside down,
Yep.
but I loved it. Like I still loved it. So they're over this crowd. She looks over. Kaiden is still unconscious and they are slowly being lowered. And he finally wakes up. As soon as they hit the ground, Kaiden attacks, kills one male, and disarmed another. There are two males that are clearly in charge of the crowd, and Ceres notes that they have to be brothers. Their names, we find out, are Githrind and Crave.
They are very interested in Kaiden's god sword, and he tells them that it was a gift from the gods. Crave responds and says, quote, a weapon from one of the dead houses, older than the halls of this kingdom and theirs combined, and he expects us to believe that the traitor gods gave it to him. Okay, hold on. That was a lot to unpack because one, there's a dead house.
Dead houses, right.
Said dead house is older than that kingdom Diaxis and the kingdom that the dead house came from combined. And also somehow there are traitor gods. And is it maybe because they only worship sticks, so they consider the other six in their pantheon traitor gods? But that was a lot to unpack in just one sentence, and I didn't know what it meant.
See, I read that as that the gods were people once. Like that they were actually beings and that now their houses are dead. Like that's how much time has passed that their houses are dead and that they've basically like transcended. And that would make sense that these people would see them as traitors, that they've left the realm. Because let's think about it.
Yeah.
We heard from Zareth that the gods have basically abandoned
Yep.
the realm, right?
Yep.
So that would make them traitors to them, right?
Kaiden says it's just a sword, but Crave says that sword could end worlds in the right hands. If it's what I think it is one of the forgotten blades of our ancestors, and you do not have the right to wield it.
Also, though, remember that when he was gifted the god sword, they said to him, this sword, it's been waiting for you for a long time. Like the ability. So it tracks that this is a forgotten blade of the ancestors, and there's a reason why it was waiting around for Kingfisher specifically.
Yeah, sure. Githrin continues to taunt him, telling him that Kaiden is going to suffer.
Right.
Kaiden killed Aerith, their father's emissary, weakening his power in Avelia. So again, reminder that Aerith was the Lord of Midnight that attacked Ceres at her coronation that Kingfisher sliced in half. Remember, I drew a really great picture of that happening. Quality artwork there. And Githrin takes it too far and he taunts Ceres. And Kaiden has had enough of that. That's where he draws the line. He says, quote, shadows and smoke tore out of Kaiden, a blast of magic so powerful that for a moment glittering darkness stole the light from the flickering torches. It happened fast. When the shadows drew back, a tall, semi-translucent wall stood between us and the crowd of Diaxians who had gathered to watch. Even if Grithand or Crave commanded them to attack, they wouldn't have been able to, at least for a short while. Kaiden rolled his shoulders and shook his arms out, casually shrugging off the magic that still pinned me to the floor. How was he doing that? That's some
Hmm.
interesting magic there.
Kaiden apologizes to Saris in their mind-to-mind speak, saying, quote, sorry, Osha, Arisen has always guarded Diaxis. I've spent centuries practicing at hiding information behind locked doors in my head. She saw what I wanted her to see, but you, I knew she'd look into your mind. You wouldn't have been able to hide it from her. There just wasn't time to prepare you. So we get here that he has been actively keeping things from her, but we're okay with it, right? Because he is doing it for a very real reason to protect the information.
I was
Uh,
fine with it. I didn't have a problem with it because they
yeah.
had talked ad nauseum about the agreement to miscommunicate. And
Mhm.
so it was kind of just built on the I'm going to trust you when you cannot communicate something. And
Yeah.
I understand in this one, he had to take it a step further of I can't even tell you I can't communicate because I can't
Yeah.
have you digging for more of that information and searching for answers. So I
Yeah.
had to leave it out. And I think this is a very good reason. You can't protect your mind, so you can't know the information.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I get it. I don't love it,
I don't like it.
but I get it.
This was like a true plot twist that you're like, where the heck did that come from? And I feel like sometimes that's fun. And
Yeah.
because of the way that they describe it and the reason, I buy the reason enough that I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, you can have that, like the shock
Right.
value of it was I
Yeah.
didn't hate it,
I I would agree with that. I just think that this on top of the whole, oh, well, there's timeline things now and the gods messing with time and
Mhm.
pathways being chosen. I think that there's
There's a
just a
lot.
lot of
Yeah.
there's a little too many doors to hide
Yeah.
behind now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't
I
know.
wish more
I
of
don't
it
know.
would have come together before we got this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. If
Mhm.
other things had been solved, this
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have bothered. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would have liked the fact that Brimstone comes from dragons for there to have been a dragon in it for a little bit longer in the book.
Yeah, well, that was our big thing at the end of book 1. We were like, "We're gonna have dragons in book 2," and it took us till the
Yeah.
literally the
Last few
We
pages.
were
next to
right,
last
but
chapter.
yeah.
It's literally the last chapter.
Crave and Githrind don't understand guidance power, saying, quote, shadow magic doesn't belong in your realm. Where did you get this power? And Guidon responds, quote, the same place I got the sword. He
Huh.
snarls. Tendrils of
So there.
shadows. So there. Tendrils of shadows whipped from his hands. At the same time, shadows spilled from Crave and Githrin, but their magic was nothing compared to Kaiden's. Paler, weaker, somehow less corporeal. And I took that to mean that they aren't what Kingfisher is. Like this kind of cemented for me that they might say our father, right? But I kind of see it in the way Malcolm's children called him father, even though they weren't
Mm.
biologically his father. So I feel like they're like almost demons high up in their hierarchy. And so they are wielding something like shadows, but what Kingfisher is truly wielding is what a half god wields of shadows.
Hmm.
Okay, I just had a thought though. Wasn't Nimmerel, I know why it's named Nimmerel, right? But wasn't the actual sword gifted to him by Zareth?
Balin Mithin.
Okay, so he just says here, where did you get this power? The same place I got the sword.
So from
I don't have an
Balinmithen?
answer for you, and that actually did bother me. So thanks for pointing it out.
So from the god, does he mean Balinmithen specifically, or does he mean the gods in general?
Right.
I think he was trying,
Maybe.
maybe just speaking
Maybe just the gods.
flippantly.
But that's...
And I got a power from one of the gods, but it did bother me too.
Yeah, maybe.
It bothered me. You're not
Because
wrong.
then it negates. Well, doesn't negate, but it puts a wrench in the theory of, is Styx actually his bio dad or not? Right? Like if he doesn't get the shadows from him because he's his dad and he's a half god, because he got the shadows from Balinmithen or Zareth or whoever gifted them to him, it throws that whole theory out the window, which wouldn't make. But we've put so many things together to say that they are, so that.
I mean, I just honestly, I think this is meant to say, where did you get it? I think, where did you get it? The gods. Where did you get your power?
Right.
The gods. And it's not meant to be taken from this specific god, even though I would agree that it's it's different sets of gods that he got each of them from. He's thinking of them as the, what are they called? The Corcoran.
Corcoran, yeah.
Corcoran, yeah.
Corcoran, yeah.
So, and then going back to Catherine, you said something that I want to revisit too, about them calling Styx father in the same way that the vampires call Malcolm father. This is the only, or like the biggest question that I have, or reason that I question the theory about Styx and Finran being the same person, because if you look at it in this way, that they are literally brothers, then that would potentially lead you down one road, versus them calling him father in that sense could lead me down another one. So this quote is one that I question our theory of them being the same person.
Yeah.
You know? Kaiden looks at Saris and says, "Do you trust me?" And she says, "Yes, always, yes." He smiles, says, "I love you, Saris Fane," and he kisses her hard.
Just make out. Just pause and start making out.
Which makes me nervous, because I'm like, why are you kissing me so hard? What's about to go down? Was that a goodbye kiss?
Yeah,
what's happening?
That's a shit's about to go down, for sure.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily know if I would want to meet his father right now either.
Yeah.
Then he strides over to the brothers, and Crave chokes. "Who are you? Only half gods may wield shadows." Putting things together here. Quote, Kaiden drew in a deep breath, ignoring the male's question. "I've come for a dragon, as is my right. Summon our father. Tell him I've come to make a trade." And then curtains.
Boom. End of
Nothing.
book. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now.
Whoa.
That's it.
Yeah, I definitely was like,
right.
I need more. I need more. I need more.
Yep. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. So
yeah, our father, again, summon our father. Are they actual brothers to him? Are they proverbial brothers? Is this actual his father? Is this a proverbial father? And okay, I don't know.
It's lowercase f, right? It's lowercase f versus.
It's lowercase f.
Yeah. Which makes me lean towards that it's actual bio father, but could be. Who knows?
Yeah.
Kaiden is a half god, presumably. His father is Styx, presumably. Who is the god of shadows? I think we can trust that one. Okay.
Yeah.
And we've pointed out in this deep dive that Kingfisher's father, who was named Finran in book 1, was never named throughout this entire book.
Yep.
And it's been built up to this massive reveal.
So I have this really romantic theory that Styx has basically given up his life as a god for part of his life so that he could basically he fell in love with Adina and wanted to live with her in peace. And so he gave up his godlike state for a time.
Mhm.
And it comes from that story back from him visiting the Graven. Kingfisher says he would have given up anything for love to be able to live in peace. So he lived as Finrin, again, that Finvara, Finrin
Yeah.
name, right? Um, and then, even then, remember his strongest power was his shadows, but shadows didn't belong in that realm. So, how did he have them then if he wasn't Styx, right? That leads me to believe that they are the same person. And I think that once he had to take Carrion through the Quicksilver, it was stilled. I don't think because the Quicksilver was stilled, he could return to any other realm. He probably only could have returned to Diaxis, which is why he didn't go back to Adina.
And further, there was this part in that Orlena bonus chapter where Madra wields Solace at Fenrin, but Orlena is not watching it. But then this massive event occurs. And I kind of like your theory, Lindsay, because in my mind, what happened is almost like Solace destroyed his mortal body, and that non-corporeal essence of the god he is, Styx, went to Diaxis. That was the only place it could go back to.
Mm.
Like a releasing
Yeah.
of it, almost.
Well, if
Yeah.
he is Styx, in theory, he could also create a shadow gate the way that Kingfisher can create shadow gates, and maybe he could get himself out of places, in those
Yeah.
kind of ways too.
I mean, Kingfisher's shadow gates only work within
A realm.
a realm, but that
Right.
doesn't mean the gods wouldn't.
Yes.
Right.
If he's a god of shadows, his shadow gates
Right.
would likely work.
Also,
realm to
keeping
realm.
your romantic theory alive, if we go by this timeline, ignoring the 200-year issue where somehow Everlane needs to be born, but what Bellicon just said was at 11, Kingfisher was pushed through this, and as of that week, he had just lost his wife, Adina. And presumably, Styx Fenrin just closed the gates, right? So if he went back to Diaxis, and then Edina dies, and then they go be happily ever after together in a little underworld, and they are just happy, 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 happy.
A little underworld.
Yeah, and I think in episode 2 or 3, when we talked about Adina coming through via Everlane, it sounds like she is in Diaxis.
Yeah.
So if they are the same person and this is where Styx lives, then is Adina here?
Yeah.
Right.
Because there was a way they described some of the other court members that were kind of watching this scene play out, and they kind of sounded dead to me.
Yeah. Well, and if Adina is there too, then the book has been leading them to this point, right? And so it's almost like leading them back to her,
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's also not forget Adina's message. The final one we got is read on after the trade. There has been absolutely no mention of Saris having the book with her. So let's hope she doesn't need it directly after this, because where's the book?
Because she often
Forgets.
right? And forgets to read the book. Before she goes to ball, she almost forgot the book.
Right.
She almost forgot to read the page. The White Cliffs, she forgot to read the page. So it worries me that she doesn't have it here, and she's supposed to read it after the trade, and she's not going to.
Yeah. And the thing that I struggle with is all of this seems to be Kingfisher's design, why they're standing here. And he says, I'm going to trade. But I all of Adina's instructions are very centered on what Saris has to do and what Saris has to sacrifice, and she still needs to seal her brimstone rune. So I honestly wonder if him saying trade is meant to be misleading for us, because I always got the impression she was going to have to trade or sacrifice something, because she is here to seal her rune as well, and she has to sacrifice something as part of that process. So I wonder if there's a different trade to be had.
I just think he's going to be the one who starts the trade deal conversation, and I think that Saris might come in or she's going to be a part of the trade in some way. But I do think that yes, Kingfisher has a plan, but Adina has oracled it and she knows exactly what he's going to offer and she knows how it's going to go down. And so I think that even if it's not her doing, I think that she knows what her son is about to offer. And Saris is going to make a choice, and Adina has seen it, and that's where it might go awry. The best way to
Awry.
put it.
Yeah.
It's going to go
And-
awry.
All right, yeah. What are our final thoughts? Predictions? What do we think?
Next book is going to be all about salt.
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 Salt of the
There you
earth.
go. Tria Prima. I struggle with the end of this book for a couple of reasons. The first is that while I was reading this book in my first read, I had a frickin' blast reading it. I think I was so excited about it. We read it together in the weekend, and it was, the next book we were going to cover, and I loved Quicksilver so much. And I liked this book. And I also feel like it wasn't quite, I didn't get all the things that I wanted from it. And so there's like a feeling of like, at the end of it, and that I don't love. Like I don't want to say disappointed, but I don't know if it lived up to the hype that I put in my head for it when all is said and done. Did I have a great time reading it? Absolutely. Are there great parts of it? Do I like a lot of the characters? Yes. And I also was reflecting on the fact that I'm not comparing the books to each other. I want to talk specifically about the way that I felt in reading another series. And so in the Empyrean series, I also didn't love Iron Flame the first time I read it. I was like, meh. And then when I got Onyx Storm, I was like, oh, okay. And things started to click and I understood things more. And so I don't think this is going to be the same thing because they're very different books. But I'm wondering if, and my hope is that when we get book 3, we will get a lot of answers that for me will make everything in Brimstone that we had questions about make so much more sense that then when I reread it, I will enjoy it that much more, just like I did with Empyrean, because that happened to me on my reread of Iron Flame. Once I had Onyx Storm, I was like, oh, and then I read it and I was like, okay. And so my experience reading it needed to be all 3 of the books at the same time, right? And so I am hopeful. I think that there are series that I have read that are God tier series where every book in the series was not a 5-star for me. And it's still a God tier series. And so that is my hope going into it. And, man, I just have so many more questions. And so it's like a bittersweet feeling, I think, at the end of this deep dive because I wanted us to figure more things out than we did. And so it's skewing how I feel a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. The unfortunate thing for me in this book is similar to you. On my first read, which we did in a weekend, I devoured it and I had so much fun with it. It was a 4-star book for me. It was never a 5.
Right.
It was a 4-star my first read. However, now that I have read it multiple times and done a deep dive of it, I unfortunately have fallen less in love with it, which is not typical for
Mhm.
me. I typically enjoy our books more when we do our deep dives and we get to talk about all of these things, because doing those, especially I feel like for me, as the one that outlines our episodes, I dive in really deeply to like the literary devices that are present in these books. And
Mhm.
so as I do my rereads, I'm looking for the foreshadowing and the symbolism and all of the imagery and all of that. And typically you find that more on your second read, right? Because in your first read, you don't necessarily know what you're looking for. It's not until the end of a book that you've captured the meaning of those things and
Mhm.
captured the symbolism of them that you can look back in your
Yeah.
second
Mhm.
read and find the clues. My subsequent readings, however, did not solve those things for me. They only made it so that I had more questions, and that wasn't a good thing for me. It wasn't more questions as in, "Ooh, that's a detail I missed the first read, I can add that."
Yeah.
It created more questions in the sense that it was like closed or like open loops, and I don't love that. I also, I think that book 3 will change the way that I feel about this book. Like you were saying, I think I'm going to read the third book and feel very differently. And I hope that I read the third book and look back on this one and go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what that meant. That's now it's all making sense. I hope that's the case. But I also, I don't know, I'm a little bit conflicted about it,
Mhm.
Mhm.
to be honest.
Yeah.
I also don't love all of the harping that people have done on the author and on the
Yeah.
editing team about the
Yeah.
mistakes. I don't want to be that person. But I will say that the unfortunate part about some of those mistakes is that it makes us question everything else, so that if there is a open plot, we now have to look at it and go, well, was this a mistake or was this on purpose? And that makes it for a very confusing read.
Right.
Mhm.
Especially when you're
So,
deep diving it the way that we are, right?
right.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
those are my final thoughts.
And I know a lot of people argue the concept that every book has to stand on its own. And I don't always agree with that sentiment because I think a lot of those books can stand on their own once you have all the information, and you're not supposed to get all of the information until the very end. There might be things that you just don't understand until you get a bit more information, and I think that's what you guys are saying, is hoping that book
Mhm.
2 or book 3 is gonna make you
Yeah.
realize those things. I think my biggest issue was the fact that I had all of these questions in Quicksilver, and I needed a lot of them to be answered in Brimstone
Mhm.
so that I could then take on more questions that could be then taken over into the 3rd
Yeah.
book and answered
To
there, and
add
I
and
thought
add. Yeah.
there was too many questions in Brimstone that were new questions, not enough of those questions in Quicksilver, and going into all of the continuity errors, I almost needed a little bit more something from the characters to answer
Mhm.
those other than simply the gods are messing with the timeline. I
Yeah.
wasn't just able to enjoy the book because I just kept second guessing too many times, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it takes away your confidence
Yeah.
in the book, right? So that we were so confident in Quicksilver and we wanted to be confident finishing this book going into the next book, and our confidence was just severely diminished in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not confident on what I know and don't know because I feel like
Mhm.
I
Right.
don't know too much.
Right.
Right.
We have a
Yeah.
note in here about predictions. I don't know that I can make many good predictions right now, to be honest. Like, I just don't know so much that
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to say, I predict that. I mean, more dragons, yes, right? Like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
we're going to meet Styx and talk to Styx, yes. But like, there's
Mhm.
not a lot that I can hang my hat on that I say, I think this is going to be a big plot point, and that is not as fun for me,
Right.
you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes me not look forward to the experience of book 3 as much. Like, the experience of going into this book was so exciting. I had
Yeah.
so much hope for it. And maybe that's part of the problem is that
Mm.
it was up on a pedestal so much because I was so excited. I had so many theories and so many predictions for it that when I
Yeah.
read it and it just didn't quite get there. So it's like severely diminished the excitement of going into book 3 that I'm like, I got nothing,
Right. Right. It's a lot of
you know?
pressure to put on a book 3 of a series where
It
you
is.
absolutely loved. Quicksilver was 5 stars for, I think, all of
Yeah.
us. I
Mhm.
loved
Yeah.
Quicksilver, and so I'm afraid to read it because I don't want it to not redeem itself. I
Yeah.
want it to redeem itself so
Yeah.
bad.
And we talked about too, I think in episode 1, that we are true believers that it's not necessarily fair to say plot holes, to call things plot holes when
Mhm.
this is a book 2.
Yes.
We truly don't
Mhm.
know, right? But the hard part is that the plot holes feel like mistakes or feel like I don't know.
They're
It doesn't
glaring.
feel like the plot holes don't feel like unanswered questions. It would be one thing
Yeah.
if the plot holes were, "Ooh, I don't know the answer to that. I can't wait to find out the answer to that in the next book." But the plot holes that we're experiencing here are, "The fuck are we talking about right now?" Like,
Right.
you
Who
know
did
what I
he
mean?
get his
There's a
shadow power from? Which one had that?
yeah,
Like,
there's
mhm.
like differences in how those and it's hard to describe, I guess, to me about what those feelings are. So again, do I think it's fair to judge a book 2 and call things plot holes? No. That's what a series is. We're not going to get answers. Everything's not going to be wrapped up in a bow, but I do believe that we should have some sort of guesses or some sort of
Prediction.
semblance of understanding of what those questions are, and I don't even know that I know what the questions are.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not that I don't know the answers, it's that I don't know what the
I
questions
don't even know
are.
what questions to ask.
Right.
I know. I know.
So, yeah, it's a mixed bag. It really
Mhm.
is. It's a mixed bag.
Mhm. Well, listen, we will see. I am still gonna read book 3 because
Sure.
I
Yeah.
absolutely need to know. I need to know what's gonna
Right.
happen with Carrion. Like, I need to know.
Yeah.
And I'm not giving up on Fae and Alchemy because I love Quicksilver so much. I love Callie Hart
Right.
so
Mhm.
much. And
And like I said, I hope that I read
yes.
book 3 and it everything is justified. I'm like,
Yep.
Yep.
"Oh,
Yep.
I
Got
see
it.
what you did there.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
got me. You
Mhm.
got me." I
Mhm.
hope that
Yep.
that's
Same.
what it feels
Same. We
like.
have hope. We have
Mhm.
hope. We will
Mhm.
keep everybody posted. I'm sure people will know
We
how we feel, and
we
we'll
have
be talking about it online.
stargazers in our eyes
We do.
because
We
they're a
will give
symbol
you
of
our
hope.
opinion about books, don't worry.
I mean, I'd say that's a pretty fair assessment. Yeah.
Well,
All
that
right.
is a wrap on episode 6 of our coverage of Brimstone by Callie Hart. Next up on the podcast, we're going to do a one off episode on a book which we all absolutely love. It's called Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. It is a science fiction book that all three of us have read, I want to say recently, as in reread it because we love it
Mhm.
so much. And with the movie being released very soon, we thought it would be fun to do a side project between series. So if you haven't read it, go read it now. And I would say do the audiobook on
Listen.
this one.
Yes.
Listen to this one. Even I am telling you, listen to this one.
I've done both too.
Yes.
I've read it and listened to it, and it is a great
Listen is so fun.
audiobook.
Great,
for
great
sure. Yep.
audiobook. And speaking of series, we are very excited to announce that our next deep dive will be Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. We'll be deep diving book 1, Shield of Sparrows, with episodes starting on March 27th. Then we will jump back into our deep dive of the Wolves of Ruin series by Sable Sorensen with book 2, Fury Bound. That's going to come out immediately when Fury Bound is released, so we are so excited to cover that. And then after Fury Bound coverage, we will come back into the Shield of Sparrows world for book 2, Rights of the Starling, after that is released.
So thank you so much for joining us this week. Be sure to like, follow, rate, and comment on our podcast wherever you are listening, and follow us on our social media channels so that we can find more unhinged fantasy readers just like you and us.
Woohoo!
And we also now have a Patreon channel. For only $5 a month, you can now be a book dragon with us. Our subscription includes a monthly book club, often featuring the book's author, early access to episodes, membership to our private Discord channel, merchandise discounts, and free hugs at events.
Oh, yeah.
So come enjoy the fun today.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this week, and happy reading. Bye!
Bye!